I hope my PPT is visible, sir.
Yes, ma'am. It is just coming because it is. Yeah, now it is okay.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much,
Perfectly
sir.
okay.
Thank you, sir. Thank
Okay,
you so
ma'am.
much.
You can go ahead.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much, sir. This is Dr. Himani here. I am at present working as an HOD of electrical department from Chandigarh University. I hope I'm audible to all the participants. Is my voice audible, sir?
Yes, ma'am. Your voice is perfectly
Yes,
clear. You
ma'am.
can go ahead.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much, sir. So I firstly let me congratulate the organizers here, Gagandeep ma'am and Dr. Gagandeep Kaur ma'am and Dr. Sunil Singla sir, for choosing a very vibrant topic of electric vehicles now for this Atal FDP, because it is very much prevalent in today's scenario. And let me take this opportunity to congratulate all the patrons for this workshop, the resource persons, the participants for choosing to attend this workshop, because this is the need of the hour. And as we all know, electric vehicle is the scenario, is the thing which is required nowadays, and it is something, because the need of the hour is on to focus on this particular domain. Now, let me just firstly brief introduce myself. I'm an alumni of IIT Delhi. I've done my PhD from IIT Delhi in electrical engineering, and the domain of my PhD was on advanced control of micro hydropower plants. And I did my MTech also from IIT Roorkee in Alternate Hydro Energy Center, which is at present the Department of Hydro and Energy Center in IIT Roorkee. And therefore, I am an alumni of two IITs. And at present, I have a work experience of more than 20 years working in different areas, different places. And at present, I'm working as a head of the Department of Electrical Engineering at Chandigarh University. Now, why I have chosen to attend this electric vehicle, because here in Chandigarh University we have this BE of electric vehicle. We have started this year, Bachelor of Engineering, as well as we have the ME program also in Chandigarh University, which have started this year only. And we do have a lot of admissions also. So
Disney Plus Hotstar पर
I have chosen this topic on powertrain management, which is related to electric vehicle. Now, what do you mean? Firstly, because as I can see from your brochure, you have conducted lot of workshops on this electric. I mean, lot of lectures have been taken at present till now on electric vehicle. The basics of electric vehicle has been covered, and the history and need and trends of electric vehicle. So I would prefer that if we have a two-way communication here rather than a one-way communication. I think this battery management technology is also been covered by some industrialist persons over here. So I suppose it's a very vibrant session. The speakers have been chosen uh, uh, with very much intricate details. And as I can understand, so this electric vehicle, the topic here is powertrain management. Now, as we know, what do you mean by an electric vehicle? Basically, electric vehicle, as we know, it uses one or more electric motors or traction motors for propulsion instead of the traditional fossil fuel. So it does not survive on traditional fuel. So that is why it is, I said, it is one of the most vibrant topic, because nowadays the fuel prices, as we all know, it has crossed 100 rupees. So that is where the need of the hour is to focus on this, because it does not depend upon the traditional fossil fuels. Although this electric vehicle was, first electric carriage was built up in 1830s, but in 1891 it came into being in United States. But why it has taken almost 100 years to come down to this place? Still it has not gained momentum, in fact, the way it should have gained. Now there are certain reasons for this, so which will be focusing on in the later parts of our lecture here. But before that, I would firstly like to briefly describe what are the different types of electric vehicles. So we have the basically 4 types of electric vehicle, that is battery electric vehicles, the hybrid electric vehicles, the plug-in hybrid electric vehicles, and the fuel cell hybrid electric vehicles. Now, since we know that this electric vehicle does not depend upon the traditional fossil fuels, so that is one reason why, this is very important for changing the environment and the economy around the globe. And in the next 2 decades, it is envisaged that, this electric vehicle concept, if it is given proper momentum, it will change the whole scenario, whole economy of the people around, of the world around. Now, when we say that EV is nothing but electric vehicle, either it can be partially or it can be a fully powered electric vehicle. Now, why do we need EVs? As I said, there is a fast depletion of fossil fuels. Here, because of the electric vehicle, it will result in a significant reduction in air pollution because you are not using the fossil fuels. So therefore, there will not be any CO2 emission here. The transportation will be accounting for 1/3 of the energy usage. With rapid urbanization, it is the need of the hour, and energy is not consumed while the electric vehicle is stationary. So when you are driving a conventional car, it is using, because it is surviving on combustion engine, so it is consuming the fuel, whereas it is not the same case with respect to electric vehicle. And obviously, it is actually facilitating employment growth also, as we can see from our Climate Risk Index 2020, which has been released by the environment think tank. It has actually worsened from the 14th spot to 5th position in 2018 in the Global Vulnerability Ladder. And it makes all the reason for India to actually make a priority to fight against the dependence on fossil fuels. So now, if you are now, can you, any one of you or any of the participants, tell me what is the scenario of electric vehicle? Do we have electric vehicles around us? Can any of the participants tell us something about this? Yes. Can we have the participants here? Some input from the participants. Am I audible to
Yeah,
all?
we do have, ma'am.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Sir.
We do have electric vehicles around, especially 2-wheelers, 3-wheelers, and even 4-wheelers. But not a very significant number as such.
Yes. So could I know the reason why it has not gained so much of momentum here? Because yes. So,
Cost is high,
yes,
initial cost.
Initial cost. Very good.
Then
Okay.
range anxiety.
Okay, range anxiety. Very nice reason, sir. And that is one of the reasons. So if you are going from, say, Delhi to Chandigarh also, you will have to charge your vehicle a number of times, So this is, a major major thing which is actually, hampering the growth of the electric vehicle, right? Now, can you tell me what is the difference between a powertrain and drivetrain when we are saying powertrain and drivetrain? Because the topic is revolving around powertrain management. So, can anyone of you tell me what do you mean by the powertrain when we are focusing on powertrain? Yes. Any of the participant can tell? Yes.
Transmit power from electric source.
Yes. Anything else? Why do we call it? What is the basic difference here between the powertrain and the drivetrain here? Yes. So a powertrain basically will consist of an engine, right, and a drivetrain, right? Whereas when you're talking about the drivetrain, it is basically made up of transmission, drive shaft, axles, and differential and the wheels, right? So it will be dependent upon this. So a powertrain basically will consist of an engine and a drivetrain, and drivetrain, like the powertrain, it is not a single component of your vehicle. So basically that is the basic difference here. When we are saying this is a drivetrain and a powertrain, drivetrain will have all the transmission. You can see the figure here. It has a transmission, it has a drive shaft, axles, differential, as well as all the wheels here, right? Whereas it is not the case in case of a powertrain. So why do we say powertrain is important? Can any one of the participant tell me why do we say, why do we discuss this topic of powertrain here? Yes. So because you have been across a number of topics here already, the major chunk of the workshop has been focusing on the basics of electric vehicles. So if you can tell me what is the reason why the powertrain we are talking about here, basic reason for the powertrain. Any of the participant can give me any feedback here? Yes. So can any one of the participant? Yes.
Powertrain basically ensures optimum utilization of battery power. So if it is working properly, you can make the optimum utilization,
So how do you?
and will give you a better comfortable drive.
Yes. So basically, when you're talking about powertrain, as the name itself implies, the powertrain provides power to the vehicle, right? So when you're saying it is referring to a number of components which generate the power, which is required to move the vehicle and to deliver it to the wheels, right? That is what the definition says about the powertrain. So when we are talking about, say, high performance sedans, the vehicle is, very smooth steering, acceleration, brakes, everything is good in safe driving, but it does not happen. So in as a source of power generation, good quality powertrain is a very important parameter for better operating range, acceleration, and top speed. So whenever you want to accelerate from your standstill position, you need to have a powertrain to propel to your vehicle. So that is the one which is, providing the power to the vehicle, to the engine, to the vehicle to move, right? So, when we're talking about the importance of the powertrain, basically it is been recognized for its role in improving the fuel economy and in responding to the global environment regulations, basically. So when this PCM module, as we call it, PCM powertrain control module, it is the electronic control system which will drive, what your engine and the transmission will do. So the main components of your main computer of your car, which will control the fuel delivery, emission, function, and many others. Like, it affects your engine's performance and drivability. That is what we are saying that this electric vehicle is the need of, because it is the one which is, which is actually required nowadays. That is why this powertrain concept is very, very important. And the PCM concept, which we are talking about, the powertrain control module, it is very much important for improving the fuel economy and in responding to global environmental regulations by controlling the exhaust. Because as you know, greenhouse effect is there, a lot of emissions are coming up, the fuel prices are going up. So, this is the need of the hour. Now, basically, when we are talking about the powertrain, the basic components here are, you can say, the engine, the drive shaft, the transmission, the axles, and the differential. These are the main components of a powertrain, right? Now, if you are talking about this engine is nothing but the heart of the vehicle, you can say, which is actually generating the power to drive the car. So this is the main heart, and it will consist of the pistons that will move up and down inside the cylinders, and a crankshaft which will translate the reciprocating motion into a rotating motion, right? As we all know, drive shaft, what do you mean by a drive shaft? Which is basically responsible for, it is a component which is responsible for transferring the torque, basically, from the transmission to the wheels. That is how the movement takes place. So it will be moving through various angles, and it will change its length to adjust to the movement in the suspension. And when you're talking about transmission is nothing but it ensures that proper amount of power is transmitted to the wheels. So a car's gearbox, the transmission takes the power from the engine and adjusts it according to the driving conditions, and thus transferring it to the wheels. So this we all know. Axles, basically, axles are nothing but it is lying between the wheels and performs two major functions. Firstly, it will put up the weight of the vehicle, and it will also rotate, transmit the power of the engine to the wheels. So what do you mean by differential part? This we all know, because differential is nothing but is a rear part. So it allows the rear wheels to turn at different speeds, and it is important. The powertrain concept, as we know, It is important because without the system working properly, the vehicle cannot move forward. So it has to generate, it has to convert and consume the energy to make the vehicle, give a vehicle a thrust, so that the vehicle is into motion. So when we are saying it is an electric vehicle, basically, how do this electric car work? Can any one of you tell me how does the electric car work? How?
Instead of engine, we will be having an electric motor that is driven by the battery.
Yes. So we'll be having an electric motor here, which will be instead of the combustion engines, right? So basically it will run on electricity, right? And vehicle will not emit any kind of exhaust fumes, right, from the tailpipe. And therefore it will not pollute the environment. That is why we are working on electric vehicles, right? So when you have said that basically the different components here, as you can say, an all electric car, you have a traction battery pack, an auxiliary battery, an electric traction motor, a charge port, a DC to DC converter, and an onboard charger. So these are the basic components of an all electric car, right? So these are the different components of an all electric car. Now, when we are saying a powertrain, basically, as we know, as I just said, it is basically the thing which is pushing the vehicle forward, right? So car's powertrain will create power from the engine and deliver it to the wheels on the ground. So that is how it works. So I'm just showing you a small video here so that you know the basic concept of this powertrain works. It will become more clear. So I'm just starting this video here. Yes.
Is voice there? Is it a video or just graphics?
So can you tell me what is the purpose of this electric drive here? Any of the participant here, can you tell me what is the purpose of the electric drive here? Yeah.
It converts that is battery energy, that is electrical energy, into mechanical energy.
Yes. And any other advantage here? As you can see from this, yeah. So any other advantage of using this?
Overall weight distribution, like gross vehicle weight and payload.
Yes.
It can make-
Regenerative braking.
Yeah, you have regenerative braking. So here basically when you're talking about this, we are also talking about this electromobility, right? So can you just tell me what do you mean by e-mobility here? What is the concept of e-mobility here? Because we have covered these topics in our previous sessions. So yes, so could you please tell me any of the participant about the e-mobility concept? Yes.
We are using electrical power for the mobility, means transportation and everything,
Yeah.
instead of fuels.
Yes. So that we have already said that it instead of the conventional fuels, we are working on this concept of electric mobility here, right? So basically in vehicle information communication technologies, we are connected to infrastructure to enable electric propulsion of the vehicles, right? And second point is that the powertrain technologies, they will use complete electric vehicles, and the plug-in hybrids are also in present in demand nowadays, which are actually working on the hydrogen fuel cell vehicles, which will convert the hydrogen into electricity, right? And this e-mobility concept is very, very important because they are motivated to address the corporate fuel efficiency and emission requirements. Then only it will meet the market demands. So how your operational cost will come down, that is the basic reason why we are going for e-mobility. Now, when we are saying this e-mobility, this electric vehicle, they are basically, as I said in my first slide, they are plug-in type hybrid electric vehicles. Also, you have HEVs type, or you have pure battery type also electric vehicles. So when you're saying plug-in type and can you tell me the difference between these three, plug-in hybrid and hybrid electric and pure battery type electric vehicles? Yes. Any of the participant, can you tell me what is the difference between the three types here? Any of the participants? Yes.
In the case of hybrid electric vehicles, we will be having both options like fuel engines, and in addition to this one, we will be having that electric motor. So depending upon the requirement, sometimes it will take up the entire power requirement. It means fuel engine will take up the entire power requirement, or if the power demand is less, means that the electric motor will take up the entire power requirement. So we will be having both options in hybrid engines, hybrid electric cars.
And sir, what is the plug-in type and battery electric vehicles?
That I don't know, madam. More details.
I think these topics have been covered earlier also in the earlier sessions. So that is why I just thought that, we'll have a quick recap about this, the plug-in type, because it is very important for your electric vehicle, electric vehicle concept to understand. You should know the different types, the plug-in hybrid types, the hybrid electric vehicles, and the pure battery types. Because
in pure battery type, we will be having only electric motor. There won't be any fuel engines like petrol engines, gasoline engines. Nothing will be there. We will be having the whatever the power requirement, whatever the power required for the that is means vehicles. It will be provided by the electric motor and the battery backup. Battery backup only.
Yes.
In the case of pure electrical vehicle.
Okay. So they will use both petrol, diesel. So these vehicles, they will have two power systems, an internal combustion engine as well as a battery. So we'll just come to the detail about this, and this all comes under e-mobility. So as you can you see this diagram here? Is it visible to you all? The basic difference here between the plug-in hybrid types, the hybrid electric vehicle, and the electric vehicles here. So you can see here in the electric vehicle, you have a motor generator and a battery only, right? Whereas in a plug-in type, you have the motor generator, the engine, and static charging concept in electric vehicle. Yeah.
Madam, you are talking about pure electric vehicle or hybrid?
Yeah, hybrid only. What is dynamic EV charging, sir? Dynamic EV charging, basically.
As the vehicle moving, it will keep on charging the battery system.
Yes. It will charge wirelessly. There is no need of any wire. It will be capable of charging wirelessly. That is the basic difference here, right? So when you're talking about this e-mobility, how the e-mobility work, It will be using by use of electric cars. It will be through e-bikes or pedicels. Nowadays, you know, a lot of e-bikes are also coming up. The Olas have also started. Yes. There is a disturbance from the participant Vijay Kumar Biradar. Dr. Vijay Kumar Biradar, I would request you to mute yourself. Dr. Vijay Kumar Biradar, sir, could you please mute yourself? Dr. Vijay Kumar Biradar, sir, kindly mute yourself. Yes. So fine, we are using an electric motor which will convert the electrical energy into mechanical energy. So this e-motor will concept, basically it will obtain this energy to generate the magnetic field. So that is how, you know, the e-mobility concept works. Now, when you're talking about the e-mobility, why it is important, can any one of you tell me why the e-mobility concept is important? Yes, why we are talking about e-mobility concept? Can any of the participant tell me why the e-mobility concept is important?
Mainly because of the pollution problem.
Main because of the pollution problem. So because it will reduce the CO2 emissions, it will lower the emissions, right? So that is why this we are talking about this e-mobility concept, which will be, and it will be very economical also in times to come, and it will be very much social also. Is there any future for e-mobility? Can you sir tell me what is the future of the e-mobility here? Because if you see the if you see the European countries, they are already working on it. They are already having this e-mobility here. If you can see the forecast, their global market share is increasing from 3% to 5% in 2020. And they are already having so many vehicles, 1 million electric vehicles on roads at present in Germany. In European countries, they are focusing more on this. There is a level 2 charging also, which will use about 240 volts. Level 2 chargers, they will come in 16 amps to 40 amps. And the most common ones are 16 to 30 amperes, which are referred to as 3.3 kilowatts and 7.2. Can you tell me what do you mean by level 2 charging? Why it is more prevalent here now in this level 2 chargers?
It can be used for cars.
Yes. So yes, electric cars, they are very much useful. So we can see this is the most prevalent ones nowadays. The level 2 chargers are actually, you know, which will refer to that voltage and 240 volts, and they come in variety of amperage. As you can see here, the number of varieties available here. So that is why they are, you know, very much in demand. Now I'm just showing you a small where this concept of going. I'm just showing you a small video here. See. So you can see here the basic concept of this basic reason why we are having problem here in this. It is because of this. Now the battery technology. Can you tell me what are the different types? What is this battery technology? What is the prime area of R&D here? What are the EV batteries consisting of? Yes. Any of the participant? Because this is a main constraint, you know, where we need to focus on the batteries for the EVs? Yes, any of the participant would like to tell me what is the basic constraint here? Yes. Yes.
Ma'am, it will be the cost of cobalt metal.
Yes.
Now, compared to lead acid battery, the power density means the amount, the power that per unit volume of the other batteries are less compared to less lead acid battery.
Yes. So basic constraint here, anybody else? Anybody else for this? Yeah, any of the other participant, because you have already covered this, so I just thought, because you know the batteries, they basically they consist of this lead acid batteries, the nickel based batteries, which will be comprising of nickel iron, nickel cadmium, or nickel metal hybrid batteries, and there will be lithium based batteries also, like lithium polymer, lithium ion batteries, and there will be an energy or power losses here during battery discharging and charging, which will be appearing in the form of voltage loss. So when you're talking about the battery technology, which we are using in case of electric cars here, mostly this plug-in hybrids and all electric vehicles, they will be using this lithium ion batteries, right? So lithium ion batteries are normally used here, and energy storage system will be essential for this hybrid electric vehicle. All the three types, that is HEVs, PHEVs, and EV also. These are basically working on this concept of lithium ion batteries. So lithium ion batteries are the most popular ones here, which we are using now. And therefore, the efficiency of the battery during discharging and charging can be defined at any operating point as a ratio of the cell operating voltage to that of the thermodynamic voltage. So because you know the EV technology revolves around this concept of the batteries, so that is why I suppose one of the lectures was also taken on BMS in this present FDP, right? So that is one of the reason why you know we need to focus on this, because now as you can say here, the storage technologies with respect to the energy density, if you're talking about the lead acid batteries, they are having only 100 kilojoules per kg here. But whereas the lithium ion battery is about 600 kilojoules per kg. And if you're talking about the compressed air, it will be 80 kilojoules per kg. Whereas the conventional capacitors will be costing around 0.2 kilojoules per kg, and ultra capacitors about 20 kilojoules per kg. So if you can see here, there is a huge difference here between this conventional gasoline. If you're talking, it is about 43,000. So can you tell me what is the impact of this energy density vis-a-vis with respect to the usage here? Any of the participant? Yes.
Madam, suppose we are using a gasoline engine for the car.
Yes.
So by 30 liters of fuel, we can travel around 600, 700 kilometers. Suppose we are having a fuel economy of 20 kilometers per liter.
Yeah.
Whereas we are using batteries, means hardly it would be around 200 or 300 kilometers for the maximum that is for the full discharge of the battery. So again, we have to recharge for further travel.
Yes. So that is, you know, one of the major constraints here, but this is the reason. And any other point you would like to add here with respect to any other constraint which you feel is important? Yes. With respect to the energy density of gasoline and conventional lithium ion batteries. Yeah, any of the constraint which you feel is important? Yeah.
Madam, for getting the same range of means the distance or for getting the same, we have to provide more space for accommodating batteries.
Yes.
So,
yes. Accommodate more space. Yes, definitely. So that is also there, right? And obviously the charging problem is also there. So that is also one of the reason, right? Now, if you're talking about the energy and the power needs, Rate is one of the problem, as you said. Rate is an example. When you're refilling a gas tank with 15 gallons in 5 minutes, it will not go much distance. As you said, energy rate is roughly that of 20 major campus buildings, costly and problematic to fill the batteries. And moreover, there's a leakage problem also, right? That is also one, safety is also one important issue. So that is also the main constraint here, right? Now, if you're talking about the battery characteristics, can you just see how the characteristics are in the, if you're selecting for EV and HEV batteries, they are the power density, energy density. If you can see, as we go, as this energy density goes in the range of, say, lead acid batteries, it is about 30 to 40, whereas for nickel and lithium, it is about 100 to 160. So you can see here, there is a huge difference. So can any one of you tell me, like, what will be the impact of this? Because lithium and iron, they are having huge factor, which is about 100 to 160 in terms of energy density, whereas vis-a-vis with respect to lead acid, it is only 30 to 40. When you're talking about power density, lithium ion is having 1000 to 1500, whereas for lead acid, it is about 120 to 200. And if you're talking about the life, yes, can any one of you tell me what is the impact of this? Yes, any of the participant? Can any one of the participant tell me? Yes.
Suppose we are opting lead acid battery, means it can provide only range is somewhat less, and the acceleration that can be provided. Acceleration means in the sense of current delivery capacity, that would be less. But if you are opting for the lithium ion battery, it can provide more range, means we can travel more distance. And the battery ampere delivery capacity means current delivery capacity will be more. Is it like that?
Yes. And any other reason which you can think? The weight problem, as you said just now, the volume, the cycle life. If you see, the cycle life is more here. Lithium ion. Yes. And the density is also more here. Energy density is also more here. Temperature range, environmental conditions, cost, this acceleration here, as it goes on increasing for lithium ion, it is the energy density is very high. So this is, one of the main constraint for this EV and HEV batteries, which one we should use, right? One of the main deciding factors. Any other point you would like to add which we have missed out here? Yes. Yes. Any of the point would you like to add on? So if you can see here, this nickel is having in between about 50 to 180, whereas this for lead acid, it is very small, low. So that is why, this is one of the main constraint here, the battery characteristics. Now, if you're talking about this lithium ion batteries, they have their name uniquely from the cathode materials. The lithium, it is belonging to the lithium ion family basically. So they are basically divided into 3 types: the lithium ion cobalt, the lithium ion manganese, and lithium ion phosphate, right? So if you're talking about lithium ion cobalt, it has high specific energy with moderate load capabilities and modest service life. So applications are cell phones. All of us are using cell phone, laptop, digital cameras. They are having this lithium ion cobalt batteries, right? When you're talking about lithium ion manganese, they are having capable of high charge and discharge currents, but low specific energy and modest service life. So basically they are used for medical instruments, right? And electric powertrains. Whereas when you're talking about lithium ion phosphate, it is similar to lithium ion manganese. Nominal voltage is 3.3 volts per cell, and it offers long cycle life and good safe record, but exhibits higher self-discharge than other lithium ion systems. So can you tell me which one would you prefer now here of the 3 different types of lithium ion batteries? Any of the participant here? Yeah, which one? Yes. So can you comment on this? The 3 different types of lithium ion batteries? Yes. So any comment from on this, the different types of the 3 different types of lithium ion batteries that we are using here? Because this is very important. EV revolves around the batteries only, right? So it is very important that we need to cover this topic also. So any one of the participant can comment on this? Yeah,
Lithium ion manganese.
Ma'am, lithium ion manganese is better.
lithium ion manganese is better because it is moderate, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, and any other comment on this?
Madam, I have a doubt, madam. Is there any battery like lithium polymer battery?
Lithium?
Polymer?
Lithium polymer battery. Okay.
Anything like that, madam? I have a doubt only.
Okay. So can any one of the participant reply on this lithium polymer battery? Is there lithium polymer battery? Yes. It is basically rechargeable battery only of lithium ion technology, basically of the same family, right?
I don't know
So
much details, madam.
yes.
That is why I asked it.
Yeah, but it is actually very much there from the same family, lithium polymer battery, but it is basically abbreviated as LiPo only. It is basically a rechargeable battery of this using liquid electrolyte, right? So that can be used for providing high specific energy, but they are used in applications where the weight is a critical feature, basically like for mobiles or for radio aircraft, controlled aircraft, or some for electric vehicles also you can use it. So that also is available. That is also a prevalent option for you. That also we can
Okay,
use.
thank you.
Yeah.
Thank
so
you.
that is also
Thank
there.
you, ma'am.
Yeah. So now when we're talking about the solid state batteries, they replace the liquid and the polymer electrolyte, right? The basic difference here, can you tell me what is the basic difference here when between the solid state and the liquid lithium ion batteries here? What is the difference here? Which one would you opt and which one would you opt for here in an electric vehicle?
Solid state batteries, ma'am.
Solid state. So why would you opt for solid state batteries? Why would you opt for a solid state batteries? Yes. Can you give the basic reason behind it?
The electrolyte, they might have using the solid electrolyte instead of liquid electrolyte, and
Yes.
can also much improved, and charging time will be reduced, ma'am.
Yes, but they will be having maximum storage capacity also. Yes, and basically they'll be having charging time. Yes, major benefits will be lightweight, smaller, higher capacity. They'll be cheaper than the liquid-based lithium-ion batteries, right? So that is why the solid states are more in demand nowadays for adoption in this electric vehicle concept. So that is why the companies like Toyota and Dyson, they believe in using this solid state batteries, which are the near future, right? This is the basic reason. Now, if you can talk about this electric vehicle battery charging system, yesterday one of the speaker was actually focusing on this. So you have an electrical grid here, AC to DC converter and DC to DC converter with a digital control system, and which is connected to a batteries. So can any one of the participant explain this? Because yesterday there was a speaker, I suppose, a resource person who was focusing on this concept of bidirectional DC to AC, AC to DC converter, and then bidirectional DC to DC converters. So this is, the how the charging of the electric vehicle takes place, how the electric vehicle battery charging system takes place. So can any of the participant throw some light on this? Yes. Can any of the participant throw some light on this? This concept actually we have all studied here. So any of the participant would like to throw some light on this? What are the different types of filters here we are using here? And how the bidirectional flow takes place from bidirectional AC to DC converter into the DC to DC converters, and then how the batteries are being charged here, which are in turn connected with the digital control system. So any of the participant would like to add on to this? Because this concept has already been discussed in one of the sessions here. So it is very important to focus on this here. Yeah.
Maybe it is V2X technology, like vehicle to grid, grid to
Yes.
vehicle.
Yes. V2G, very good. V2G concept is also there. So that is why it is very important to focus on this. Now, if you're talking about, as I showed in the videos here, you have a DC fast charging system, right? So here, as you can see here, this is one type of DC fast charger. So what does it work like? You have a direct connection here, which will be leading to the vehicle battery for very fast charging rate. It will be, it is possible to approach the rapid energy transfer rate of gasoline refueling. Then charging rates are, can any one of you tell me which company is actually working in this domain of DC fast charging? Yes, DC fast charging. Any one of the companies which are working on this? Any of the participant can tell about this?
Maybe Tesla is working on this.
Yes. So basically here, when you're talking about this DC power, it will bypass the converter altogether so that this charge can go directly into the battery, right? So it will speed up the charging process, and that is why there is a fast charging here. Because of this, it is bypassing the converter, so there's a fast charging, and compared to charging with AC power, DC charging is very fast. So that is why you have some compatible cars, Audi, BMW, all they are Honda City, they are all Honda Clarity EV electric vehicles, they are Chevrolet, they are all using this concept of this DC fast charging, right? Siemens have developed a 150 kilowatt charger with about 920 volts capability. Automobile manufacturers, they are launching long distance battery powered vehicle worldwide, which can recharge a range of 500 kilometers in 10 to 15 minutes. So basically, these are the fast recharging concept here. Now, if you want to understand the different types of electric car batteries here, as we discussed earlier, the lithium ion, if you say which one is the better suited here, the ultra capacitors, the lead acid batteries, the nickel metal, and the lithium ion. Which one of this is better and why? Can any of the participants tell about this? Because we have understood the different properties. Yes. Carry ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, ma'am, maybe lithium ion batteries because of the state of charge, and we can easily calculate. And
Yes.
also the properties and characteristics, especially OCV, it is open circuit voltage characteristics.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
maybe. Yeah.
So that is why we are choosing the lithium ion batteries as compared to this ultra capacitors. If you see, they are, although they are not inexpensive, they do not have a very high life also. But other terms, they are very efficient, high energy efficient, high temperature performance, good weight. But if you're talking about the lithium ion, it has all the properties. They are easily accessed, inexpensive, they are energy efficient, they have good temperature performance, good weight, and life cycle also, right? So whereas if you talk about lead acid also, although they are not having good temperature performance, but other parameters they are working good. In other parameters, they are working good. So that is why this electric car batteries they are having, we are preferably using the lithium ion batteries here. Now, if you're talking about the concept here of the electric motors for EV and HEVs, the main characteristics of the drive system and the controller, it will determine the ratings of the power devices. So as we said, there are three different types. There are different types of motors which we are considering for electric vehicle and the hybrid electric vehicles. These are the three-phase induction motors, the permanent magnet synchronous motors, the switch reluctance motors, and the synchronous reluctance motors. So if you can see here the figure, because we all know, being electrical engineers, I suppose here we have participants from all domains here, not only of electrical, they are all from other branches also. Do we have participants from other fields also here?
Yes, ma'am. Mechanical.
Mechanical also, very good. Mechanical, because you can understand this concept because different types of motors, which are, can you tell me the difference where basically here the different types of motors which we are using for electric vehicle and the hybrid electric vehicles here, basic difference between the different types, the three-phase induction motor, the permanent magnet, the switch reluctance and the synchronous reluctance motors. Yeah. So, depending upon the, yes, any of the participant would like to comment on this?
For permanent magnet electric motor, the speed control won't be that much easy.
Yeah. Okay. And what about the three-phase induction motors?
We may get uniform torque, no? Constant torque.
Yeah.
Three-phase induction motor.
Yes. So three-phase induction motor, basically it has rotating electric machines which is designed to operate on three-phase supply. So that is why, yeah. So it works on rotating magnetic field, right? So how, if you are talking in terms of, these are the different types of motors which we are using for the electric vehicles here, right? Now, now if you can see here, the Tesla motor is actually, having range. The Tesla is got into this, one of the very pioneering company which has got into this electric vehicle, and they have been quite successful also. They have come out with the latest motors also in this domain, which is having a dual motor AWD and which is having a range of 353 mi, and it is traveling up to from 0 to 60 kilometers per hour. So that is one of the thing. Then Nissan has also come out with an impressive power. They are having very long range charging and battery. So charging is basically easy here in Nissan, and you are getting 226 mounts on a single charge with Nissan Leafs available, 62 kilowatt hour battery, and 3 different levels of charging means the plug-in charge is never out of reach. So you have a compatible smartphone and connected with this Nissan. Now, what is the scenario of electric vehicle in India? Any one of the participant can comment on this. Are we successful in implementing this concept here in India? Because European countries have already done this, and what is the Indian scenario?
So, madam, we have auto rickshaw, that is Mahindra. They have launched one electric auto, pure electric vehicle, that is Mahindra Treo.
Yeah.
Then Bajaj, they have two-wheelers like Chetak.
Yeah.
Then Hero Hero Motors also, they have launched some bikes for purely running on electric.
Yeah.
Then Tata.
Some of the municipal corporations, they have introduced electric buses also for public transportation.
Yes, yes, yes. For Delhi to Jaipur also, they have introduced some electric vehicle bus.
Tata Nexon, Tata one variant is there from Tata Motors.
Yeah. Even Ola has come up with electric scooters. Ola has come up with electric scooters. They have also gone. But anyway, the major constraint here is that EV penetration is only very less as compared to the total vehicle sales in India. Still, people are not too much into buying this electric vehicles. Although now the companies have started working on two-wheelers because the sale of the cars is not so good, right? But still, we are targeting that, we should be able to combat this because we need to combat the pollution problem also. And we are also having the constraint of charging stations. As we said, the charging stations are very few, like 150 charging stations, as you can see here, and that too only across 62 cities. So if you are traveling from Delhi to Jaipur or Delhi to Chandigarh, or even from Delhi to any of the city in South, it is very difficult to rely on electric vehicles, right? So it is very much difficult to rely on this because of the constraints of the charging station. So that is why it is difficult to say that the combustion engines will phase out. It will phase out, but it will take time. It will take, it will be doing so only if, in different stages. It cannot be done instantly. So that is why this EV scenario is not so good here in India. Although a number of startups, number of manufacturers, they are coming up with this usage and they are hitting the roads, as we said just now. But still, India needs to work hard on this concept of electric vehicles. So that is why this passenger cars or buses, they are not so successful here. Although they are very much successful in, reducing the pollution level of CO2, but still, it is not considered as a huge success. So EV outside India, can any one of you tell me what is the scenario of EV outside India? Yes. Any of you, any one of the participant can tell what is the EV scenario outside India? Yes. Any of the participant can tell? Can any one of the participant comment on this? What is the scenario of EV vehicles outside India?
Around
Yeah.
50%, Germany around 30 to 40%. Right now they have implemented, I think.
Yeah. In China, they are progressing very much, but still not too far they have gone. But yes, European countries, they are targeting. The UK also is targeting 100% electric cars. They are expecting, as you can see here, the top 3 markets of the total EV sales, the highest is China, then followed by United States and then Norway. So China is targeting that, we should have more of the electric vehicles coming up with the in a higher manner. So that is what is they are doing it. The European countries are taking a huge splurge in this. So they are working on this very seriously, and they are actually working on the electric vehicle concept in new passenger car sales. So they are trying to increase the usage by selling more cars, more two-wheelers. Now here, what are the different challenges we can see here in Indian EV industry? Any of the participant can tell what are the now major challenges here in EV industry? What are the basic? Yeah. Yeah, Mr. Ishan, you would like to say something on the major
cable tie.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So can you tell what is the basic constraint here in what are the challenges in the Indian EV industry? What are the basic challenges here? As we discussed here, the huge challenge, you can see the purchase price. This is the huge challenge, right? The driving range. Yeah, Mr. Ishan, could you please mute yourself? Mr. Ishan Thakur. Yeah. Yeah. Yes, ma'am. Mr.
That is
Ishan.
the
Yeah.
development R&D department, like us, okay, like me. So I want to do research on EVs, battery management system, and also there is no faculty to encourage in this area. Faculties are there in power electronics, power systems, but I have to depend on the industry to grow in this area. So maybe R&D department should develop in this area. And in each and every college, they have to provide one branch like this electric vehicle technology also.
Yes.
Madam, for me, that third point is very important. Reliance on battery imports. So that facility, I think, is not there.
Okay. reliance on battery imports. Very good. And see, ma'am, there are some institutes which are offering masters as well as they are offering specialization also. Like as I said, we are running this program from this year onwards in electric vehicle. So people are there. Only thing is that you need to approach them. And now, since it is a new concept, so you may not find, it is not necessary that we need to go to the industry, you know, for this. But definitely, because the labs facility and you know the R&D that you actually require for the EV market, you know, the EV industry to grow, that is not existing at present in any of the institutes. Because I have seen, you know, recently, we had conducted one electrical vehicle workshop of 2 days also here in Chandigarh University in one of our tech fest. And we found that, you know, it is very difficult, even in our own institute, it is very difficult to purchase equipment because they are working in crores. They are working out in crores. So it is not possible for any of the institute to invest so much in this at present, because the charging itself is taking too much of this. So, yes, ma'am.
Yeah, that is correct, ma'am. That's all.
Yeah. So it is not possible, but definitely there are experts available in IITs, in NITs. This is a upcoming domain, in fact. So faculties of electrical and electronics, they are doing, they are working on this, the EV concept, and they are guiding students also in PhD also in this domain. But yes, as we said, infrastructure is one of the major constraints, the bottlenecks here, because huge investment is required, right? Battery imports, then you know, the inadequate electricity supply is not is existing. Lack of quality maintenance, then changing of mindsets. You know, it's very difficult to change the mindset of conventional people out here to switch over from the combustion engine to the electric vehicle engine. So it's very difficult to change their mindset. So that is also one of the major constraints, unless people themselves realize it. Because now the cost has gone up of conventional fuels, so obviously people are trying to switch over. But then if you've been to Jaipur in MNIT there in RV National Institute of Technology, they are running this cycles, e-cycles also, and e-rickshaws also. In our campus also we are running this. So that concept is slowly coming up, and we really need to work hard, you know, to overcome these challenges in the Indian EV industry. So that is also there. Now there are certain major startups also. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Madam, I would like to share one information.
Yes, sir.
We have our own car, electric car, that is Tata, manufactured by Tata, that is Tata Nexon.
Yes, sir.
32 kilowatt hour battery. They are using the lithium polymer battery only, I think, madam.
Yes, sir.
It is having a range of around 312 kilometers for a full for one charge.
Okay. So that is very nice, sir. It's very nice.
Tata Nexon.
Tata Nexon.
Tata Nexon lithium polymer battery only. They are using 32 kilowatt hour capacity.
Okay, okay. So you are from which institute, sir?
I belongs to Kerala only, madam.
Yes, sir.
College of Engineering, Talacheri, North Kerala.
Okay, okay.
So here government is having so many initiatives for e-mobility.
Okay, okay.
Okay, madam.
So that is the reason, you know, this government initiative is very much required. Unless you have a, you know, helping hand or somebody hand holding you, it is very difficult to survive on your own.
Yes, madam.
No? Because yes, sir.
Government is pumping huge amount of money for this type of initiatives. They have recently launched one e-rickshaw by government itself. Yes, and they have exported to countries like Nepal also recently. First batch of e-rickshaw they have exported to Nepal.
Okay, okay. So that is a good initiative, sir. Even we have
from that government college side also they have conducting so many FTP like this, and I think this is the third or fourth I am attending in a row.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Sir, even AICT has conducted number of FTPs. I've scrolled through the website. They are conducting number of FDPs on electric vehicles now.
Okay,
So,
okay. Here Department of Technical Education, Kerala government only organizing this type of programs, madam.
Yes, sir, yes, sir. So that initiative is very much required, and especially for the labs, to set up the labs, it is very much required because we cannot work totally on the battery management system also, the BMS also. We need to have good infrastructure, right? In our campus also, we have e-rickshaw and e-cycle also. So this concept is slowly coming up. It is very much required. So that is why we are working on these startups. Number of startups have come up, which have been funded by private individuals also. They have started up with electric scooter. As you can see here, Ather Energy, they have major funding is from Hero MotoCorp. They are working along with the collaboration of the industries. So industries are coming forward. They are investing in these startups, and that is why they are actually being successful. This Ola Electric Mobility, it has come up in cooperation with SoftBank Corporation. The Ratan Tata and the Matrix, they have got this. They have funded this. Then this battery company, which has been started by Nishal Chaudhary, his former Tata Motors president, has invested undisclosed amount here. So unless the companies are coming up or the government is giving you a hand holding, it is very difficult to survive. On your own, you cannot work on this, right? So just as madam also said that we need to have people to give you R&D here and to focus on this. So that is why it is very much required that the hand holding should be there. You can see here. So any other point you would like to add here? Any of the speaker, any of the participant would like to add on something? Yes. So you can see here this e-Trio, Smart E, these are actually, yes sir, yes sir.
जो आपने डाल दिया वही के वही चलेगा हमेशा.
Yes sir. Okay. So these are the major startups which are working on this. Right?
Madam,
yes sir.
these companies, Ather or you do, so they are getting their all parts, like their vendors from India, or they're getting parts from abroad and they're assembling here. What is the scenario?
Yes sir, yes sir.
These companies, the parts of electric vehicle, are they getting from abroad, other countries, or they are producing in India only?
They are actually getting the funding from the companies here only. Yes sir.
Not funding, their parts of the
parts are being given from the so this is, as you can see here, like say Ather India, they are based in Bangalore. They have been funded by so as you can see here, the corporates are actually investing a huge amount here. The corporate sector is actually investing the huge amount here, and that is how they are surviving. The major investment is from this. About 10 crore investment is from the various investors. So basically, e-Trio is based in Hyderabad, but they have been founded by Satyapurna Chandra. So as I told you, even the MNIT, we have produced a Spark project, and it has been funded by the Spark Association. So this government funding or the corporate funding is very much required. So that is why we are saying that the future will depend upon this. So here the future of mobility will be promising to be silent, efficient, and much better. As we know, it is all environment friendly. Then the public procurement is expected to be an important driver of growth because unless the public is aware of it, what are the advantages and how they should go about it, they will not invest in purchasing the four-wheelers or the three-wheelers or the two-wheelers. So we need to have the public awareness also. Although there are a number of companies like Ola and Uber, they have come up with recently during the COVID times, they have come up with food distribution services. But still, this is not successful, unless the people are aware of it. and investments are done by the companies and
नहीं
by
मुझे
the
नहीं चाहिए
corporates.
तू खा ले ले
Yes.
दाल खा ले और मुंह भर ले
Mr. Brijendra, could you please mute yourself? Mr. Brijendra Singh Bhaskar, sir, could you please mute yourself? Yes, yes, sir. So if the government is targeting that by 2030, India should save about 8 lakh crores on gasoline and diesel import. So that is what we have set the target, and that is why we are considering different levels of batteries here. And as we know, the government GOE is already targeting. They are they are funding that startups. The investors are coming forward to make the investment here, and the timely adoption is there about the electrification of existing vehicles and growth of charging infrastructures. And then as you can see, the young people are also coming up, and they are also into innovation, sustainability. Lot of innovation centers have been set up, especially during the Corona times. So if you see, even in Kerala also, suppose a lot of innovation centers have been set up, sir. The incubation and innovation centers have been set up even by AICT also. They have come up with a lot of focus on this, and they are actually working on different targets, that how they can provide funding for this, and how the environment as well as the people's dependence on the conventional fuels could be reduced. So that is how this future is there. So now I would request if the participants have any queries, you can raise your queries here, sir. If any of the participant has any queries. Yes. So if any of the participant would like to ask any query.
Ma'am, I want to ask a basic question. That
Yes,
is
sir.
how to calculate the relationship between the means wattage of the motor with respect to which ampere hour battery will be used. Means suppose 1000 watt motor is used, and for that how much ampere hour battery will be used, and how much it will take for charging, and what will be the means range of the vehicle, kilometer range of the vehicle in single charge.
Yes,
Like
sir. Yes,
yes,
sir.
ma'am,
Sir,
blanket.
sir, this was already discussed in the lecture here. The different range of the vehicles and the different types of the battery properties was also discussed here. Yes, because the different batteries, we had discussed about the long range and the short range, that we have discussed here in the session. Yes,
Okay,
sir.
ma'am.
Yes, sir. So if you have seen the slides, yes, sir. So
Okay, ma'am.
yes, sir, we have discussed that issue also here in this. Yes, sir. Any of the participant would like to ask any other query which we have not discussed in the session here? Or even if you want later on also, you can discuss it. You can send me the queries through the organizers here also, or you can directly send it to me also, no problem. On my mobile number, you can note it down. It is 96769 74176. So I'm just writing it down in the chat box here. So you can just write to me if you have, just like ma'am said, that you need a guide for guiding people in this domain. So you can contact me. We can arrange this session here. And my email ID also I have written in the chat box. So you can contact me any time of the day. Yeah. Or you can drop me a message. Yeah, so any other query from any of the participant? I have written my 2 mobile numbers in the chat box, so you can contact me directly also, or you can contact me through the hosts also, to the organizers also.
Ma'am, I have one query.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Regarding solid state batteries, can we draw the equivalent circuit of solid state batteries, ma'am? Like lithium ion batteries, it's already existing. They have drawn that electronic equivalent circuit diagram, and they are doing some optimization techniques and all they're applying for SOC estimation.
Yes, sir.
Can we draw solid state batteries also, ma'am? Equivalent circuit diagram, any idea on that?
Solid state batteries, ma'am, this is the thing, which is in demand nowadays, as we have said here.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am, that is possible. We can work on it. And in fact, that is why I said that, since you're looking for pursuing your PhD here, ma'am, in this topic.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yeah.
So you can approach us anytime, ma'am. That would be better. Because yes, ma'am, that will be better because we have our master's program as well as bachelor's program also running in this domain of electric vehicle. So we can reach, this is possible, ma'am. So we can guide you further in this domain.
Yeah. Thank you, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. So for faster charging times without the risk of fire, we can switch over to solid state batteries because that will be much more better than the existing lithium ion batteries that are much more in use nowadays. So that is a good option, ma'am. So Tesla, in fact, is improving. Tesla is working on this, ma'am. That the Tesla company is actually working on this solid state battery. So they are actually planning that by 2026 they should be having commercially producing their solid state batteries by 2026. So that is what they are planning, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. I read that article.
Yes,
so
ma'am.
that only I have decided to research in this topic, solid state batteries, how they and all. But I need some guidelines, how to start with and in what way I have to go.
Yes.
So I'll be connecting with you, ma'am.
Yes, yes, ma'am. So that's why I've written my mobile number and email IDs also. You can drop me a mail or you can call me up. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. So any other thing you would like to ask? I have made sure that it should not be a one-way communication in the presentation. Normally, when you have only one-way communication, it is very difficult to relate with the participants. So I have ensured that from the starting, everybody should be involved, and yes, so it should be a two-way communication. So if any of the participant would have any other doubts, you can ask here, or you can drop me a mail also, or you can call me or WhatsApp me the message, no problem. So I'll be glad to answer.
Hello.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Madam, what about like sustainability in this EVs?
Yes, sir.
Sustainability.
Sustainability. Yes, sir. So sustainability, we have one of the very important parameter here is sustainability of with respect to electric vehicles, sir.
Yes, madam.
So can you tell me how do you define sustainability here, sir? Because this is as you know, this sustainability concept is very nice here, but is it possible to have to work on it in with respect to electric vehicles, sir? Lot of
so by my understanding, sustainability means we are thinking about future generations, and we are making sure that resources will be available for future generation also. So that way, I have an understanding of sustainability.
So the major bottlenecks here in terms of electric vehicle is the charging thing, which we have discussed here. So if the charging problem now, the focus main focus, in fact, I would request, I suppose we have more of faculties here in this as participants in this workshop. Do we have more of faculties here in the as participants? So if you have more of faculties here, then we can write some research projects because this is a very growing domain, and we can have funding also from here where we need to work more on the charging domain. We need to work more on the charging domain, and we need to make sure that fast charging could be done, just as we were discussing the static charging and the dynamic charging. So that can be worked out. Because one of the bottlenecks here is this only. Yes.
Madam.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Madam, in this FTP, we have any separate session for regenerative braking Why? Because that is a vital part of this electric vehicle. We have separate algorithms and everything for controlling the regenerative braking. How much amount of braking should be done by the manual braking, that is hydraulic braking, and what amount of braking force to be supplied by the regenerative braking. For controlling all such, we have separate algorithm and all. That is somewhat a complex part also. We
Yes,
have any
yes.
session for the for that regenerative braking in this FDP, madam?
Yes, sir. I think it is there, sir. As I can see the schedule, because there is initially when you had discussed it, you had discussed about the battery technology, the BMS part, the charging was also there, the electric vehicle supply equipment. Yes, the next session is by Dr. Dinesh Subramaniam from Thailand. He'll be working on role of battery thermal management system in electric vehicles. And there is an IoT of electric vehicle also, which is there. And tomorrow you have one session by Dr. Amandeep Singh, sir. He'll be talking about alternative to battery technology. So I think they should be able to cover that topic also.
Okay, madam.
And
Okay.
yes,
Thank
sir,
you,
yes, sir. So there'll be sessions on this because it is very important concept, sir. Very important concept. So if you have any further doubts, you can raise it over here, or should we wind up the session now? Because as I can see here in the schedule of this FDP, starting from the basic concept, they have tried to cover almost all the concepts of related to electric vehicles, the basics of electric vehicles. The IoT has also gone, whereas it is not a basic concept, but still that battery part and the thermal management system and alternative to battery technology, that has also gone into it. So I mean the hosts have tried to cover almost all the topics related to this. So as you can see here, this electric vehicle itself is not a small topic. You have a lot of other I mean, it is an exhaustive topic, right? So it requires more than just the FDP of 5 days. It requires more input, right? So and more sessions also because we had recently, as I told, we had conducted 2 days workshop in this electric vehicle technology at Chandigarh University recently on 24th and 25th of August. It was done in Tech in Wind Festival. So we try to cover almost all the concept, but still since this concept is itself very vast and very exhaustive, so it's very difficult to touch upon in depth into this. So for in-depth, you can have we can have the communication later on also. You can drop us a mail and we can try to work out on this. Yes, sir. So any other thing you have you want to ask? So yes,
Okay,
sir.
ma'am. So I think so. This was a wonderful session and a very nice discussion amongst the participants and you also. So I appreciate your effort and on the behalf of the TIET FDP team, ma'am, I am very thankful to you to be with us. And definitely in future we will be connected with you in another FDP also. And I have seen as your area is broad related to the EV and the control also. So I think for the next session, we can also contact you. So it will be very grateful that you will be with us for the future perspectives also.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Definitely, I'd like to be in touch. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much.
Thank
So everybody, you can leave and another session will be at 3 o'clock. So we will meet at 3 o'clock. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.